I'm Henry P. Costa, and I am a political commentator in real life, a talk show host, a social justice advocate, and a politician aspiring to elective office, at least in a few years from now. I am from Liberia, West Africa. I'm an international student. I am passionate about the madness that's happening in the United States about gun violence. And so I've drafted a bill which is titled the Gun Control Act of Delaware, or the Delaware Gun Control Act. And in this bill, I seek to do a number of things. I hope when it is passed, this bill would make assault rifles, which clearly it's not necessary for personal ownership. It would make assault rifles illegal for sale and for ownership in the state of Delaware. And there are a number of other states that are doing this, and that that's one aspect of this Delaware Gun Control Act. The second aspect of my bill is to make background checks, as they are called, common sense background checks, mandatory. If someone wants to purchase a firearm in the state of Delaware, according to my bill, if it is passed into law and is enforced, that person would have to be subjected to a background check. We want to ensure that that person has no criminal record. If they have a criminal history, a violent criminal history that involves violence of any sort, of any nature, that person should be strictly prohibited from purchasing a firearm in the state of Delaware. I mean, it makes sense, does it not? It's a common sense thing. If you have a history of violence, you should not be permitted to own a firearm. Now, there are those who would say it's a violation of the Second Amendment right, but because of your history, you should not be permitted. The second aspect or third aspect of my bill, titled Delaware Gun Control Act, is we want to make it mandatory also that there's a background check to determine whether a person has had a history of mental illness. If someone has a history of mental illness, and they could be a danger to themselves as well as a danger to the community, the population. And so my bill seeks to ensure that people with fairly recent history of mental illness should not at all be allowed to purchase and own a firearm in the state of Delaware. Now, let's get to the mechanics of how this bill would work if and when it is passed into law. A person, legal resident or citizen within the state of Delaware, aspiring or intending to purchase a firearm, would go to a gun dealer, hopefully a legal gun dealer, and would request to buy a firearm, and the gun dealer would be required by law to collect the person's details, ID cards, and the photo and all that kind of stuff, and submit the details to the local outfit of the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the local FBI outfit would then do a full, comprehensive background check of this person. Their mental health history, their criminal, their record, as far as whether they have a criminal record, a violent criminal record, and so on and so forth. And if that person comes out with a history of mental health, illness, and violence, that person should be, the FBI would then communicate to the gun dealer that the individual has this history and they are not qualified. Yeah. Perhaps the FBI doesn't even have to tell the person, the gun dealer, on what basis the person should not be given a gun, sold a gun. But the FBI should simply communicate and say, this person does not qualify according to the law. And gun violence is a major problem in Delaware. As a matter of fact, statistics show, according to the New Hampshire News from New Hampshire website, the state of Wilmington, Delaware, the city of Wilmington in Delaware, has consistently ranked among the most violent small U.S. cities on the FBI list. And that's a major problem. The city has more than 70,000 people, and they saw their shooting incidents rise by 45% between 2011 to 2018. And this is worrisome. This year alone, this is 2020, the city of Wilmington has experienced, has seen 131 shootings and 26 deaths. This is scary, So the root cause, and people are discussing, it's various numbers of things. So there's this, like the city councilor Hanifa Shabazz said, called this a disease of violence. That's what's happening here in Delaware. So Delaware, has a serious issue with gun violence, and so when we put less guns in the hands of people who are not fit to carry them, I think we would be inclined to reduce, shootings and gun crime and gun violence and senseless killings. One of the things we also need to do is we need stricter laws on gun violence. People who commit gun violence, there need to be stricter laws on them, and especially repeat offenders. And so I want to humbly submit that my bill, titled Delaware Gun Control Act, is a good bill. I think it's going to help the community, it's going to help the state, it's going to help to curb the gun shootings or the shootings in Delaware and the senseless violence associated with it. And I think it is indeed a public health issue. Is a major problem. So this is how I would like to humbly submit. Again, I'm Henry P. Costa. I am a government and public policy major. I'm a talk show host. I'm from Liberia, West Africa. Thank you so much. Bye.